this point, your mom, just you, him, and your mom, was it ever a time where she came to you and was questioning? Like, did she ever come to you and ask, how do you feel about, her boyfriend? Did she ever ask you how do you feel about him? And did she ever, was there ever an opportunity to where you felt like, I'm about to tell her? and if there was an opportunity and you was about to say something, what stopped that? Or what happened? So you can talk about how this event also started, changing you and your mom's relationship.
Up until the point of me moving in, from the first time he ever started asking me questions, inappropriate questions, that me and my mom were, like I said, we were tight, super tight. We were attached at the hip. And so I knew almost subconsciously, like, this is not going in a good direction. And I almost had a feeling that we were gonna be separated in some way. Like, it was just a feeling that I had, but I wasn't really too concerned because at the time I'm like, that's not gonna happen. Like, that's literally my mom. But yeah, it came to a point, I would say a good couple months in, and we did have that conversation. And she asked, well, what do you think about him? So far, you've had some interactions with him, you've been to work with him. How do you feel? And I think I was a little bit happy because I'm like, okay, this is my end. Like, this is where you end it all. But I didn't say any of that. All I said was, yeah, he's cool. Like, I like him. Knowing I was lying. And I think what may have stopped me was just him, like, me remembering him telling me, like, no one will believe you, like, your mom would think you're disgusting, like, just all those things that he said up until this point. It kind of just came to the front of my head, like, you're not really gonna say nothing. Like, even if you do, like, don't waste your breath because nothing's gonna happen anyways. Because at the end of the day, they're in a relationship, looking for marriage at the end of the day. So she's not gonna care to do anything. Nothing's gonna happen. So don't waste your breath. So I just sat there and I was like, yeah, he's cool. So excited. But yeah, and from that point, it was a couple times she kind of checked in and, let me know how she felt. Obviously things were going good at the time for her because, they were in a relationship. So things were going good for them. And I just remember every time we would talk about it, I would almost, just sadness would come over me because it's like, every time we would talk about it, oh, she's actually happy. Oh, she's actually, having a good time and feeling love. Like, wow. I can't ever ruin that.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, so did that play another factor? Did that also play a role in not saying nothing? Because you seen how, happy your mom was, so it's like, man, I don't want to mess that up. So it's almost like, she's fired up, she's excited, but you like secretly suffering,
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. It was hard because, obviously I cared so much about her happiness because, up until this point, I I was very close with her, and she would share these like feelings that she would have with me as far as like love life, like, you know, the different people she was dating and, you know, what she's looking for and what she wants to end up like, which at the end of the day was marriage, a happy marriage. Because I mean, she had one fail before. Yeah. So me knowing that and wanting that for her, again, every time, you know, every, you know, couple weeks, couple months that we would have these little check-ins, it was like just confirmation more and more that I was never gonna say anything, because who am I to, you know, make her unhappy, to say something, even if I am believed, who am I to say something and have that, you know, those good feelings, that happiness she was having, and take that away from her. I wasn't gonna do it. I would have rather, you know, suffer myself for however long it was gonna take than, you know, mess up her happiness. Later to find out that, you know, it ended up going downhill from there, because once he got to a point where it was consistent, he was consistently raping me and, you know, making her happy, my mom happy at the same time. He kind of got careless with it, with my mom, the aspect of my mom, and that's when he started, you know, controlling and manipulating her as well, as in, that's when the real him came out, basically. You know, that's when the verbal abuse started, and not really caring, and you know, he was a big drinker, and you know, that's when, you know, it was controlled in the beginning. You know, he would have a drink here and there with you know, my mom or whatever, but then again, as he got comfortable and as he realized, okay, I already got her under control, let me get her mom under control, that's when stuff really started turning bad. Because at that point, mind you, I don't even know how many times that it has happened at that point. Mind you, this has happened it started when I was 13 years old and didn't end officially. I think the last time that he ever did something was at 15 years old, and the situation like fully ended when I turned 16 years old. A little bit after I turned 16. So from 13, 14, 15, like, it was happening pretty often.
Let me say this, because someone would hear that, right, and say 12, 13, 14, 15, and it's happening consistently or enough of times to where, you know, this is something he do. Some would say, oh, she was enjoying it. She never said nothing. It's obviously like, she obviously started enjoying it. Was that something, even if it was consistent, even the fact that it's a man and you a woman, a girl or whatever, was that situation ever pleasurable, ever something that you anticipated and was expected to happen in a good way? Like, yeah, I'm ready. I want this to happen. I'm hip to it now. You know, was that ever a thing?
No. It got to a point where I expected it to happen, but it was never enjoyable for me. Obviously, the body responds, and you know how it responds, but for me, you know, physically, mentally, like, it was never enjoyable. I never wanted it to happen. It never. But it just, again, it happened so many times. It happened so many times that it became normal almost, and I became numb to it, and I just, okay, well, this is what's gonna go down. Like, here we go again. So I just kind of fell into the position almost, but it was never a time that I was like, oh yeah, like, I'm ready, or I want this. Like, it was never like that.
Wow, okay. And was it like during these times, because you live with this person, right? So did your, normally a child that lives with their father or a child that lives with, a guy that their mom dating or whatever the case is, of course, as a young girl, there's certain things you still do. You move different. You don't dress. You don't wear certain things to bed that all that kind of stuff. So how bad did you have to maneuver? Like, was it times where if you knew your mom was leaving, you would go in your room and lock the door? Like, was it certain behaviors that you started adapting to try to avoid this situation from happening?
Yeah, kind of. But even from the start, like, I never, at least I don't think I ever gave the indication to him in any shape or form that this is, like, I wanted that from him. Yeah. I never dressed, skin showing. Like, I was dressing as a regular, 13-year-old girl, 14-year-old girl. And
back in the day, not how 13 and 14-year-olds dress today. Yeah. Back then, modestly. There we go, dressing modestly.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, but even then, as modest as I already was, that's when I would always, around him at least, like, it could be, summer, it gets a little bit warmer, like, I wouldn't wear shorts, around the house. Like, even if we went somewhere, like, I would be in sweatpants or jeans, and just, like, I'm covered up. Like, there's no way that you can think I'm trying to dress for you or expose myself or, the way I carried myself. Like, I just would be to myself a lot. But yeah, so I didn't give any indication that, this is okay, this is what I want. But yes, it's so funny. From that first time I told you when my mom went away, and I was there alone. When I did go to sleep, I started locking my door. Even if, I'm home and me and him are home, but my mom's not, I would be in my room and lock my door. Yeah, but it still didn't help. Like, it still happened. Yeah, and then I think probably I'm 14 at this point. And I know this is a routine. I know, if I happen to help him, with his work, if I go somewhere with him, like, something is gonna happen. He's either gonna touch me or he's gonna full on rape me. Like, it was an expected occurrence, and I kind of just, like I said, I numbed it out. So it was like I was there, but I really wasn't. Like, my physical being was there, but mentally I was definitely checked out. And so, it's like, to the public, we look like a father and daughter. Like, it was nothing. I don't think people really would suspect anything because, I'm still laughing and kicking with him, but just because, I at the end of the day, I had to live with him. But I did make sure that he knew that I wasn't okay. But again, he didn't care, so that didn't really matter. Yeah. But yeah, I remember, when we would do things and again go out in public, like, he would almost treat me like, he would talk to me in a way that, like I was way older than I was. Like, the way he was talking to me was just, not how you should be talking to somebody who's supposed to be your daughter. It was very adult conversation, and almost like he saw me as a girlfriend. That's almost what it felt like. And then it got to a point where he would tell me like, oh, okay, I need to get control of your. That's when he finally started like telling me what he was doing. Yeah, I need to get control of your mom so I can have better access to you.
Wow.
Oh.